If you've been away from your TV screens for more than an hour, a lot has changed. Joe Biden has now been declared the winner by the Associated Press. AP has handed Pennsylvania to Joe Biden. That's 20 electoral college votes going to Joe Biden, making him sail beyond the 270 magic number. And in the latest coming in, the Associated Press also giving Nevada to Joe Biden, and that has taken his total to 290 electoral college votes. It's been a close contest, to say the least, in all of these battleground states over the last 3 days. It's been a nail-biter. The election that was on a knife edge now has some clarity coming in for Americans who've been waiting with bated breath. A lot of anticipation in the air because a lot of Americans believe this to be a new chapter in their lives, with the Biden-Harris administration set to take over as per the Associated Press, which has now declared Joe Biden to be the winner of this U.S. presidential race. We have reactions coming in from Joe Biden, who's already released a statement on Twitter. He has changed his description on his Twitter page as well, calling himself the president-elect of the United States. Kamala Harris also declaring herself to be the vice president-elect of the United States of America. This is the moment that we've been waiting for. The counting has gone on for 4 days beyond Election Day. That on your screen is the Twitter page of Kamala Harris, who is set to take over as the next vice president of the United States of America, the first woman president to take over as vice president, the first Indian origin vice president of the United States. Joe Biden's Twitter page, the background, keep the faith, and his description saying president-elect United States of America. Joe Biden has also issued a tweet just a few minutes back where he's promised to be the leader for all Americans. That has been the common thread running through his statements and reactions all the way up to this moment. Remember, throughout the counting process, while on one hand we had Donald Trump asking for the counting to be stopped, talking about legal challenges, talking about his attempts to put the counting process on hold, alleging voter fraud, alleging irregularities. On the other hand, we had Joe Biden talking about how every vote should be counted, and that's exactly what's happened. And now the clear picture that's emerged, as per the Associated Press, 290 electoral college votes being grabbed by Joe Biden, 270 being the magic number. Pennsylvania and Nevada in the latest turn of events going to Joe Biden. These are crucial battleground states. A lot hinged on these contests. Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, North Carolina. These have been states that we have been closely monitoring over the last few hours. And we have Kamala Harris, the vice president-elect, issuing a statement. Let's take a listen in.
We did it. We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States. We did it. We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States. We did it. We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States. We did it. We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States.
That on your screen was Kamala Harris, the vice president-elect of the United States of America, on the phone with the president-elect of the United States, Joe Biden, congratulating him, saying, "We did it, Joe." This is the moment that the Americans have been waiting for. They've been waiting for this cloud of uncertainty to pass by. The numbers giving the White House to Joe Biden, as per the Associated Press. If you're just joining us, 290 electoral college votes for Joe Biden. This is just a glimpse of the celebrations on the ground in the United States. Let's get in a quick reaction from Sarah Walton joining us from New York. Sarah, what's the mood looking like in New York? This is a historic day for the United States. What a campaign this has been. What an election this has been. An election on a knife edge, a nail biter. But now there is clarity coming in for Americans. 290 electoral college votes for Joe Biden, as per the Associated Press.
Well, I can tell you that as the news networks began to start calling this race for Joe Biden here in New York, there were cheers on the streets, people coming out into the street with pots and pans where they were making loads of noise and cheering, and there were people in tears. But you have to remember that this is New York. This is a strongly Democrat-leaning part of the United States, and perhaps not a surprise that the news that Joe Biden has now been projected to be the president-elect of the United States is incredibly welcomed here. But of course, this is a very divided country, and while we've had statements from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that we heard just a few moments ago, at the same moment that the announcement was being made, we also had a statement from Donald Trump, and we have heard in the days leading up to this announcement that the president would not concede. That was coming from sources within the White House, and at that moment that Joe Biden was announced as president-elect by the news networks, we got a statement from his campaign saying this election is far from over, and that beginning Monday the campaign will start prosecuting our case in court. And in fact, at that moment there was also a press statement being given by Rudy Giuliani, who is the president's personal lawyer in Pennsylvania, where the Trump campaign has claimed that there are illegal ballots being counted. He gave a press conference again saying that they intend to push forward with a legal challenge there. But of course, what we've yet to hear from the legal challenges being made by the Trump campaign is any solid evidence. There's a lot of rhetoric, but so far no clear evidence being put forward that backs up their claims of irregularities in the voting process. We are yet to see what happens as those cases go forward, although we know that at least 2 legal challenges have now been thrown out, but it may not be over yet.
Absolutely. We will talk about the legal challenges in just a short bit. There are these reactions that have been coming in on Twitter that we are also going to be playing out for you in just a short bit. All right, celebrations and jubilation in the air as Americans rejoice the mandate that's been handed over to Joe Biden. 290 electoral college votes as per the latest coming in from the Associated Press. Pennsylvania and Nevada being grabbed by Joe Biden. Those are 2 crucial battleground states where a lot hinged as far as the outcome of this race is concerned. Celebrations erupting across the United States of America. This has been a divisive election, a polarized campaign. For now, there is hope in the air. There is anticipation that this would open a new chapter for the United States. The Joe Biden-Kamala Harris combination, we've been talking about. For more perspectives on that, we have joining us live on the broadcast from Washington, D.C., Richard Rosso, U.S.-India policy expert and senior advisor. Before we go to him, let's take a listen into these reactions coming in. All right, we'll continue to get you a better sense of what things are looking like on the ground. Richard Rosso, India policy expert, is now joining us live on the broadcast. Hi, Richard. What, according to you, would the Kamala Harris-Joe Biden combination mean for the United States-India partnership? Kamala Harris becoming the first Indian origin vice president of the United States. All right, we'll just try and reconnect that line with Richard, but we've been getting you these reactions coming in from on the ground in the United States, celebrations erupting. Joe Biden, as per the Associated Press, has sailed way beyond the magic number of 270. 290 is where his tally stands at the moment. As per the AP, he's been handed over Pennsylvania and Nevada. Those are 20 electoral college votes and 6 in Nevada. So 26 going to him, ultimately taking his tally to 290. All right, before we go to Richard, we also have Susan Tehrani joining us live on the broadcast from New York. Hi, Susan. When we spoke just a few hours ago, there was a cloud of uncertainty which continues to loom large over the United States of America. Some clarity finally emerging. Joe Biden being declared the winner by the Associated Press. Give us a sense of the mood on the ground. We see people clapping away right behind you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the images really speak louder than anything that I would say here in New York City. While this is a blue state, this is a Democrat state, that definitely the majority in the Electoral College voted for Joe Biden. But we don't remember really living here. I personally don't remember living here any other time when a president was elected that we'd see sort of this kind of celebration with the cars and people out in the street and really, jubilant and vibrant and hopeful regarding what's to come. It's yet to be seen, how this country will manage to come together. Just to put things into perspective, 70+ million Americans did vote for Donald Trump. That's a pretty big chunk of the United States. We'll see how Joe Biden, his challenges, his opportunities to try to bring the country together and to really prove, not just in rhetoric, that he is the president for all Americans. I'm going to leave you with some of these images for a second, and then we can continue picking up, because I don't think you'll be able to hear me very well.
Yes, those celebrations clearly drowning out the point that Susan was trying to make. That, of course, is a sense of where things stand at the moment in New York. Celebrations, a round of applause coming in from the people on the ground. Susan, yes, Susan, we have gotten the sense of celebrations coming in from New York, and we're going to come back to you in just a short bit. Also joining us on the broadcast is Richard Rosso, U.S. India policy expert and senior advisor. Richard, this is an election which now takes a lot of equations forward. Speaking specifically about the India-US partnership, your sense of what the immediate stumbling blocks would be and what the Joe Biden administration means for the India policy ties, India-US ties.
Well, luckily, the relationship has been relatively positive across Republicans and Democrats. I think if you look at the last 4 years, despite a lot of negatives in the ledger, the pressure on H-1B visas, the trade fight that's erupted between our two governments, overall, the positives on defense cooperation, counterterrorism cooperation, things like that, have been strong enough where you've actually had a pretty good rapport between the U.S. president and Indian prime minister. And a lot of U.S. cabinet officials kind of followed that lead and managed to build on top of a lot of the good work that had been done by previous U.S. presidents. So generally, I expect cooperation in areas like defense, on counterterrorism, would continue. The areas that I think you're going to see some change, I think the climate change cooperation, which has actually been relatively strong between Obama and Prime Minister Modi, I think will be renewed. And that's definitely a good thing, not only for our relationship, but for the world at large. Also, I think you're going to see a little bit less pressure on some of these trade issues. We both certainly have major deficits, and there's going to be some pressures there. But I think this trade fight that we've seen erupt will be dialed down a couple of notches. On the more harmful side, I think, is you are likely to see a U.S. administration that's more likely to call India out on some of these divisive social issues that have been released by the Indian government and state governments, particularly those that really kind of pressure on the Hindu-Muslim divide. So I don't think that's going to be so bad that it's going to cause a rupture in relations. But, that's an area that's been relatively off the table in recent years, and I think it'll be back on. So definitely some good and bads I see in the near term.
All right, stay with me, Richard. I'll just come back to you. Also with us has been Sarah Walton from New York. Sarah, we just got a word from Susan Tehrani, who's been getting us a sense of the celebrations in the air. Now, putting that aside for a minute, let's talk about where things stand. The Associated Press has declared Joe Biden to be the president-elect, but we also have those legal challenges that the Trump campaign has been talking about. Where do things stand at the moment? Do we see the uncertainty continuing even beyond this point?
I mean, potentially, yes. We saw a statement from the Trump campaign just a short while ago saying that as of Monday, they will push forward with their legal challenges to the result and the count in multiple states. What we know of those legal challenges is that so far, no solid evidence has been put forward of any of the claims that illegitimate votes are being counted, or that there was mishandling of the counting process. We saw Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal lawyer, giving a press conference in Pennsylvania a short while ago, saying that election observers, count observers, had not been allowed close enough to where the count was happening, and that would suggest, says Rudy Giuliani, that there was a mishandling of that count. But so far, no solid evidence of that. We know at least 2 legal challenges have been thrown out by judges in the country on that basis. Where there is also some uncertainty, though, is that some of the results in the counts have been very, very close. If you look at places like Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Wisconsin, the tally there is within the margin that the candidates could ask for a recount, and that is perhaps more than legal challenges where we may see the process held up with recounts held. Although it's not clear yet if any of those recounts, and we've seen recounts in the past, perhaps change the total tally by several hundred. At the moment, the margins in those counts totaling in the thousands. So it's not clear yet even if a recount has the ability to change the situation as it stands.
All right, but that legal challenge and the Trump campaign taking it to the courts remains a real possibility still, is what Sarah Walton is telling us. Thanks very much, Sarah, for joining us with those updates. Also with us has been Susan Tehrani, getting us the very latest from New York as well. Susan, as Sarah was just telling us, there is that legal battle that the Republican camp has been preparing for, talking about not once, every time they got a chance to do so. The last tweet put out by Donald Trump says, "I have won by a lot." That's all that the tweet says. Do we see the Trump campaign taking forward the legal battle?
They will. They're going to push through as hard as they can on this issue, and we won't see Donald Trump conceding to Joe Biden until he's left no stone unturned regarding this issue. And it's not just the Trump campaign. You have Republicans in the Senate as well who, more or less, most of them have stayed quiet. But you also have allies in the Senate that have come out, like Ted Cruz, who say that, we do want a recount. And there is going to be a recount in some of these states because the margins are so low, and that's just how it's going to be. It's not specific to this election. When the margins are so low between the counts, then you just automatically get a recount. In other states, you don't get an automatic recount. But the issue right now is we don't know if President Trump has a case. We don't know if President Trump has a case or not. He hasn't provided any evidence on whether he can really go to these courts and these courts will accept it or not. That's the big question, let alone go all the way to the Supreme Court. So that's one of the main challenges.
All right. So it's so interesting that we have people cheering on the streets. We have loud trumpets being blown, passing by, while you're telling us that Joe Biden has been declared the president-elect. On the other hand, we have Donald Trump, who's gearing up for that legal challenge. So things remain as interesting as they were even 24 hours ago. Stay with me, Susan. Let's also get a better sense from Stephen Golub, who's been getting us his perspectives. Stephen, recounts have, over the last 2 decades, shown to not bring about a change as far as the winner is concerned. Donald Trump's team is gearing up for a legal challenge, wants to take it forward in the courts. Would you like to weigh in on where this looks headed as far as Trump's consistent promise of taking this battle to the courts is concerned?
Yeah, thanks. The bottom line is that he's very likely to lose. I might add that in addition to opinionating on international affairs and U.S. politics, I am a lawyer, and I have posted one analysis and will be posting later today or tomorrow at the latest another analysis of some of these legal issues at my blog, apromisedland.org. Sorry to plug it in that way, but I think for those of you viewers or others who might be interested, I do go into some more depth. There is a narrow window. There are narrow windows by which Donald Trump could still succeed in challenging this. Over the past couple of weeks, 4 conservative Supreme Court justices, this is before the 5th conservative one, the newly appointed Justice Barrett joined, have voiced an interpretation of the U.S. Constitution that could be very favorable to Donald Trump in the case, in the instance of an election dispute. That aside, and even one of our leading constitutional lawyers, Lawrence Tribe from Harvard Law School, opinionated on this through a column in the Boston Globe recently about how dangerous these opinions could be. I don't think it's going to come to that because just the overwhelming political and media momentum in the U.S. is against Trump being able to challenge this, and partly because Biden has triumphed. It's not just one state that makes the difference. By the time this is over, there'll be 3 or 4 states that'll have made the difference in his winning. But there's that distant possibility out there. And what Trump may also do in the meantime is continue to press his case politically in a very demagogic kind of way and legally to try to persevere and to try to win. And this could lead to civil unrest. Some of his supporters are armed and things could get nasty in those respects. I don't think it's going to come to violence, but there may be good days and bad days ahead before this is finally nailed down. It's important to understand that even though the Associated Press call on the election is considered authoritative and very well respected, it's not official by any means. We go through a process with our electoral college whereby it won't be known for sure who the next president is. It won't absolutely be confirmed until Congress convenes and votes on January 6th, assuming that legal disputes don't get in the way of that. So I'm very optimistic that Biden's going to be the next president, but Trump does have some legal recourse that he's going to try to pursue, almost certainly unsuccessfully, but he's going to try to drive through that very, very narrow road to in effect steal the election through legal means. I don't think he'll succeed, though.
All right, Susan, if I can get you in on that. As Stephen Golub also said, evidence is what matters in the court. How exactly does the Trump campaign plan to go about this? The figures definitely don't support them as far as the statistics of vote fraud in America are concerned. Absolutely not in favor of the argument that they have. They have already gotten that ruling from Texas, Georgia, just 48 hours ago. That judge had thrown out that petition from the Trump campaign. So do we not expect them to actually mellow down this legal aspect that they've been talking about? Or do we expect them to further intensify that legal challenge?
Yeah, no, Donald, I don't think the Trump campaign is going to back down, and they're definitely not going to leave without a fight. However, as we know, we don't have any concrete evidence. And if there is concrete evidence, by the way, regarding maybe mistakes, not even quote unquote fraud, maybe mistakes in the counting because this was a coronavirus election, because there was an overwhelming amount of mail-in ballots, even if there has been discrepancies, the American people are open to learn about that and understand it and see where the counting may have gone wrong. But the issue is there needs to be a thread to really sew all of these issues together. And for now, we've only heard speeches and declarations from Trump and his allies, on the fact that there has been, quote unquote, widespread fraud. Another issue is that, you know, many believe, even Trump supporters believe, that the president would be in a better position if he actually, when we do know for 100% as a fact that Joe Biden is the next president, what his supporters are saying, that he would actually become a more favorable public figure if he conceded gracefully, because he's done a lot for the country, even during this election, than perhaps his predecessors have. Let's not forget, this was not a blue wave by any means. This was a divided America that went to the polls despite the fact that one side had the backing of super PACs, the media, big corporations, and one side really wasn't even able to raise funds for their campaign because public opinion and polls were so against him, and that being Donald Trump. So, but despite that, we really have a majority red when it comes to the U.S. Senate. The Republicans picked up a lot of seats in Congress. They're expected to pick up more, and that's where the law of the land is made. So in terms of the Republican Party, they're in a pretty solid place right now, considering a Trump defeat. Now, this is where it becomes fishy whether or not this fight is going to be about voter fraud, or is it going to be about Donald Trump himself and his legacy. And that's where the slippery slope is, I think.
All right, stay with me, Susan. I'll just come back to your quick reaction coming in from the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Just moments ago, congratulating Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on Twitter with that message. I'm quoting now. The US is our most important ally. Look forward to working closely on shared priorities like climate change, trade and security. Congratulations to Joe Biden on his election as the President of the United States, and to Kamala Harris on her historic achievement. Remember, Donald Trump and Johnson had a very warm relationship. The UK-US ties have been the bedrock of this Western alliance. So it remains to be seen what a Joe Biden-Boris Johnson partnership will look like. Which way will things go as far as the UK-US equation is concerned? We will have to wait and watch. But for now, these are the latest images that we're getting to you from Times Square in New York. Banners, loud chants, slogans, celebrations, rounds of applause, fireworks. We've seen it all over the last 1 hour, ever since the Associated Press declared Joe Biden as the winner of this crucial presidential race. It was a very neck-and-neck contest. Let's tell you, over the last 48 hours, a lot has changed. The Associated Press handing Pennsylvania and Nevada to Joe Biden. Let's just take a listen in for a moment to these reactions and the celebrations coming in from Times Square. All right, so from that anticipation to that celebration in the air, we've been talking about where things stand as far as the numbers are concerned. 290 is what the latest tally looks like for Joe Biden, with Pennsylvania and Nevada having gone to him.
My name is Amaya Handal, and my friend's Kuwait. And my son Badr, it's American boy. I'm very happy today. I think it's better. Amani Handal. Amani